know, this should be a quick one. I was not planning on shooting this at all, but it came up. So, generally speaking, right, when you are a liberty-minded individual, you are generally pursuing ways to basically live your own life on your terms with as little interference from, would-be authorities. Now, a term that gets thrown around from time to time is sovereignty. And being a sovereign individual, while perhaps by some, current legal definitions may not even be possible, people conflate this with the idea that you are 100% self-sufficient, and that is not true. See, being a sovereign really just means that, being a sovereign nation means that no other nation is above you, is your master. You are, in fact, master of your domain. So being a sovereign individual means that you are master of your life. It does not mean that you don't do commerce. It doesn't mean that you don't enter into contracts with other entities. Sovereignty, freedom, doesn't mean that everything you do is 100% all you and nobody else. That's kind of not functionally possible. Independence is not lack of interdependence. Life, especially, modern life with much of the technology and infrastructure that we're looking for, has to be managed by multiple parties. The difference between doing that as a sovereign individual and doing that as a cog in a machine is that you voluntarily get to choose who you do business with to gain those goods and those services. It is all about the voluntary association and the ability to pick and choose. Now, certainly it is entirely possible for a resource to be completely monopolized and solely controlled by a single entity. And while generally speaking, I think that monopolies are unnatural and fairly well immoral, clearly if somebody has something you need and they're the only source for it, then you're kind of stuck. But that doesn't make them your master. You can still voluntarily choose to do business or go without. The point is that nobody is holding a gun to your head telling you that you must or must not. That's the difference, right? Being a sovereign individual means that you are not doing the bidding of somebody else who has any kind of authority over you, at least, expressly speaking. Now, that doesn't mean that there are not going to be rules that you have to abide by if you enter into a contract with somebody. Contracts always have terms and conditions. And doing business with people, businesses have a right, if you want to use the term, I have trouble with that term, but for ease of speaking, businesses have a right to refuse service to anybody for any reason, because that's still voluntary association. And so this idea of being free, this idea of being a sovereign individual, has nothing to do with being 100% self-sufficient. It means that you have the explicit and implicit right as an individual to voluntarily associate, to voluntarily transact according to your needs and desires, and not according to somebody who let's be frank, only has a monopoly on violence to tell you otherwise. And that's all that comes down to. So quit conflating things, quit moving the goalposts and saying, oh, this means that. No, most of the time you don't know what things mean because you haven't looked them up. Look them up first and understand the implications. Understand all the meanings between the lines as well as the lines themselves. Because otherwise you just make yourself look like an idiot when you make arguments based on some spurious understanding that you kind of have based on listening to people talk as opposed to actually doing the legwork and the research yourself. All right, that's it. Talk to you later. Good journey.